the challenge was more in the portfolio when I was the corporate governance manager, where you are minuting so much, the board and all the board committees, and then trying to stretch. That's when I realized if you want to stretch, if you want to do progress, you can't minute as well. You know, because minute taking takes a long time. So for you to be doing other things, you have to let it go. So it becomes a skill that maybe will become rusty, but you can brush off if you need. But then you can do other things that are a bit more strategic in that sense. Yeah. So that was where the challenge was, how to combine doing the minute taking and then being able to stretch as a company secretary and do other things. But then I realized I had to make a decision, and that's why I left that role and went into a role where there was very limited minute taking.
So I went through your CV and I sort of noticed that in terms of your path, your progression, there appeared to be 2 to 3 years interval per role from where you moved from Croydon to Stanmore to Milton Keynes, and now you're moving on to Cambridge. So can you talk to us a little bit about that? Were they strategic? Were you intentional about ensuring that you're in a particular role for a particular time, or these opportunities came up and you pursued them? So speak to us a little bit about that.
I am being strategic.
Okay.
Because remember I said to you, the 5 years I spent, so you look at my CV, I was at Royal National Orthopedic Hospital for 5 years. That was from 2014 to 2019. After that, I looked at the people that were company secretaries and I thought, I can do your job. But the problem I had was, because I was starting way back, was I had to go to the very beginning, the NHS banding structure. I had to go to the very beginning. So even at that role where I was corporate governance manager, I was working above my banding. My output could be said to be above the banding, what was expected of someone of that banding. So I left in 2019. They were only able to replace the role in this year, 4 years, because they had to reband it after trying for 4 years. You understand? And then I went to Croydon. So it was from there, from when I left that role and I knew that I need to keep pressing on because I need to be the number one. And because I've learned everything. So every step now has been strategic. It's been strategic, and thank God is working so far. It's been strategic. I'm not. My mantra is, if after 2 years you don't promote me, I am gone. And the thing is, not that it will take 2 years, because I started looking for roles with this job in February. Because I joined February 2021. I started looking for roles in 2021. It took me 8-9 months and about 4 or 5 interviews before I got the associate director. And honest to God, I think when I'm interviewing and I'm not getting a job, so I don't guess, because look, I've done 50, 100 before where I was struggling. Now I'm in a job, but I always know that the right one will come and I'll get the job. So when I started out, I never anticipated that I'll get a director role. You know, that was not my thinking. I was thinking get to the next band and then from there go for a director role. But this has come at a bit earlier than I expected. A bit earlier than I expected. So now what I tell people is, and I've always this is my view. Every move should be strategic. Every move should build on what you've done. Don't go sideways unless you have to. Every move you should be able to stretch. There are things that you've not done before, or you've been on the peripheries, at least. Like in my case, risk management, I was on the peripheries. Support, we got a BAF, we call it BAF, Board Assurance Framework, just managing that, not doing risk. But then I go to Croydon, I manage risk. And I learn a lot while managing it, because that you learn as you. But then my thinking, all the things that I thought needed to be done, in Croydon, they weren't. My boss said, no, I won't let you do it. And that's another story of not years. But I said, I wrote a paper and said, we are here in terms of risk management. We need to go here. And that's what we need to do. 3-page. She read it. She said, no. Okay. And then the next meeting said, oh, I'll train you to be a company secretary and I'll help you. And I was looking at her. And I already applied for a role, company secretary. And she said, you should train me. I'm like, you're not training me. No. I've learned everything back where before I got here. And I know I can do your job if you let me. So after 2 weeks, I went for the interview and I got a job and I called her. I said, yeah, And he said, yeah, what do you want to say? And I said, oh, I got a job. And I said, what job? I said, company secretary, Milton Keynes. She nearly fell out of her chair. Because I thought, you think we're joking? We are not joking. We are serious people. We want to work. We want to make a difference. And I haven't got time on my hands. The thing is, I see people that are directors and they are young, and I'm thinking, I'm old. I need to make sure that I do something before I retire, or you get there. So there's time pressure. There's that feeling that I shouldn't waste time. There's that feeling that I can offer more, because I sit in boardrooms and I know that if I'm in an exec role, I can talk and I can, because sometimes they are saying things and I'm thinking, you're wrong. But I don't have a voice, So going to the next role is that opportunity to also share my views and that sort of thing. So every move, Celine, should be strategic. You start from there. The next move should have a bit of what you're doing, and maybe 30% of new things, so that you don't fall over. So you go there and said, oh, you have 70%, or you go and do it better because you have experience. You go and do it better. But then the 30% that you've had, then use it to learn how to do those things. And then every step should have that. And that's how I've done it. I'm always strategic like that. And I always say that I run my career like a business. So every year I should see profit. So that's why after 2 years, if you've not promoted me and I've worked far and above, and you know that I'm working far and above, every move should be strategic. And you go in there and don't say, this is my remit, so I should stick to it, expand it. Because before I get a job, I'm thinking of my next move. Even before I'm going to my next role, I'm thinking, from here, I want that. So the role I'm in, I'm auditioning for the next role. That's how I see it. Hello. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, thank you. Very fantastic response. I thought as much. I was expecting to hear that response, because it appeared really like it was very strategic when I looked through it. So thank you for that. I just wanted to ask, you've mentioned a few things and I felt it's important for me to ask. When it comes to the skill sets, the mindsets of professionals in the governance field, particularly for Africans who are looking to access opportunities in international markets, what kind of skill sets should they have? what kind of mindset, what kind of expertise do you think you would advise they should possess in order to be better positioned to access opportunities in the international market?
I'll say first thing, get all your qualifications. I've seen people coming. I interviewed one person. She's got everything. But so get all the qualifications. But the fact is, working in Nigeria or working in Africa is very different to working in the UK. So I'll give my sister as an example. I said to her, you need to come in and not manage anybody. You need to come in. You can do the job, but you need to learn the culture and the way they do their things as well. So if you want to come from Nigeria, Ghana, wherever, I'll say, come in, get a role that is assistant. It doesn't matter. So long as you can get in and learn the culture, learn about governance. Whereas in Africa, corporate governance is dominated by lawyers. And all you guys do is focus on the minutes and the compliance. But governance is different. Corporate governance in the UK is different. You need to also focus on the board and the committees and the information that's going through them so that they are not surprised by anything. So that things don't fall over, that they are because they want assurance, and that is important to them, especially for the non-execs. So, but you look, I'm Ghanaian, and I look at Ghana and I see a lot of things. I'm thinking it won't happen here. Like you have an estate agent being appointed as chief executive of the airport, Ghana airport. And I'm thinking, what's the person going to do? They've not managed an airport or something of that magnitude. Or we have cocoa marketing board, which looks at trillions of dollars go through that. And the person with the chief exec, even the people on the board, they've not managed companies of that magnitude. So they are there looking at maybe their per diems and stuff. So the company secretary there, the pressure on them is minutes and maybe some compliance work. They are not looking at governance as it is. You understand? So I go into an organization and I look at the objectives and I'm looking at the board papers and I'm thinking, your discussions are not matching the objectives. And I look at risk and I'm thinking, yeah, like I go to my current organization and I said, we need to be talking about trying to bring in discussions about population health, because I said, you're not talking about that. Meanwhile, the city is changing. You need to reflect that. But then, because I wasn't the number one, because I had a boss, there's only so much you can push. So I was pushing through the chair and other things, which is why I thought at a point I realized, I need to move on to some place where I am the person and I can tell people that this is what I want on my board. You understand? But here, as you need to understand that you're a company secretary and you're not only managing and compliance and that sort of thing. So coming in from the culture is different, the expectations are different. So it will be best for you to hide under a bushel for a while. You understand? But be qualified. If you are qualified, like in my case, I said I spent 5 years being a board, 3 years as a board administrator, 3 years as a corporate governance manager. And that is where I learned about governance. And from there, if you start moving, nothing can stop you. Because when it comes to paper qualifications, you have it. When it comes to if they ask you and you talk, they know that you know what you're talking about. You understand? And as I said, I interviewed somebody recently, new, and all she was talking about was compliance because she was from Nigeria, and basically that's all she knew. But I know that where she is, if she decides to learn, if someone is able to tell her, learn about governance, that girl will be great because she's clever. And I believe that if everybody coming in from Nigeria, from Ghana, if they are patient, and because sometimes you're a big person in Nigeria, Ghana, wherever you're the boss, everybody is doing madam and saying and all that. When you come here, no one would do that. My sister says she's not impressed. I'm like, yeah, you think you are the driver and somebody to send, here you do it yourself. You know, you do it yourself. No one to send, yes. So that culture change, we also need to change that so that the way you talk to people as well. You can't talk to a secretary like you talk to a secretary in Africa. You understand? So you need to be polite. That takes time for you to learn, and so that those are the things. The soft skills, and of course the sort of the knowledge about governance as well. Yeah. But people can come in, and it's changing. So I hope that people can come in, and they will find their feet.
Okay, thank you for that as well. I also want to piggyback on your response in terms of the opportunities. Where can people find these opportunities? Because people may be wondering, you can come in, what portals, where can people search for these kinds of opportunities that they can apply for and come in?
Yeah, so the places that I've seen people coming in, I can talk about the NHS.
Okay.
The NHS has because the pay in the NHS is not well. If you're coming from Nigeria, it might be great. If someone is giving you £25,000, it might be or Ghana or Africa. Basically, it will be great for a start. But it's not because it's not competing with the PLCs. We don't have, and I was having a conversation with somebody yesterday with recruitment agents. I said we don't have the quality at the company secretarial assistant committee area. You're not able to pull people through, and then obviously that means that you get some co-sex or trust secretaries, as we call them, or co-sex in the NHS, and you're thinking they don't know what they're doing, because they've just gone through the mill and they've been appointed, and they are the type that fell in, but so I always say that if you really want to progress quickly, coming from Africa, the one place that you can get a work permit will be the NHS. It will be difficult to get that in a private sector or PLC, where all the British white people are going towards there, where they don't lack quality. But if you want to progress quickly, and where you are most likely to get a work permit will be in the NHS or in the public sector. And once you get in and you are strategic, you will go far quickly as well. Because in the PLC, you might go and get stuck in these big companies. And if they even give you a work permit, that is, you might get stuck somewhere and you'll be doing one thing for 3 years, and no one wants you after that. So it's always about knowing what the next step is, and that is most likely in the NHS because it's quite clearer. Yeah, but then, so I'm being biased here. I mean, as I said, I've seen other young Nigerians and young 1 or 2 Ghanaians, mostly Nigerians, in places that they would never have considered Black people in time past. So I don't know how they get there, but I'm sure there are strong networks somewhere that guide people into those areas. I'm not privy to that. I can't speak to that, but I can speak to the NHS, yeah, and the wider public sector. That it can be easier if you're good at what you do, and we are always good at what we do. You know.
The Chartered Governance Institute in the UK and Ireland.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so my question is, quite a number of our colleagues in Nigeria have done the Nigerian version, which is the ICSA Nigeria. And then when they try to get opportunities in the UK, they do some conversion, write some 2 courses with CGI UK. I wanted you to talk to us along those lines. What does it take to become chartered with CGI UK? When it comes to getting access to opportunities, the work environment, do they prioritize having competencies, or they look at those certifications as well?
Yeah.
Or granting roles or opportunities in the government space?
Yeah. So the trouble is, they, like, I've worked for somebody. The first person that gave me a job didn't have it until, so she was doing it. That's why she gave me that job to come and cover while she studied. So somebody can become like the person I'm replacing. The person I'm replacing doesn't have it. You understand? So but then when you are qualified and you are strategic minded and you are governance minded, the way you work will always be different to somebody who is just falling in or is doing it because it's a job. You understand? So what I say is that that's why I said get all your qualifications. So you might be qualified, you come here, you make sure that you convert and do it. Because as a black person, you should show that you are qualified, you are competent. Because honestly, the person I'm replacing, if she was black, will not be there. You understand? She will not be doing the job.
Yes.
Yeah. So obviously when they needed somebody, they needed to upgrade the role. I think they want to upgrade the role. Mm-hmm. She's retiring, so they took the opportunity to upgrade the role. Mm-hmm. They found this person. They wouldn't have given me the job if I was just like her. Mm. She's done a fantastic job within what she knows, which is experience and thinking, but she's made it very quite administrative and not strategic. So they want somebody to come in and make it strategic. Mm. So I will say that you come in, you come across, and that's why sometimes it's difficult to get in, because the person you're employing is probably not qualified. But once you get in, you will rise through quickly. Because the opportunities are there, but it's a question of how to get in. And what I find difficult is having a assistant trust secretary, deputy, who is not qualified and is blocking the path of people that are qualified to come through. And there's the conversation I've had with I had with a recruitment agent yesterday, that they need to make sure that they are placing people that are qualified, because it blocks the path of people that are, if not, then their person will be blocking the path of somebody who's qualified. So I'll say be qualified. I'll say be qualified, but then because of your experience in Nigeria, because if you're able to articulate what you know, you might not get, in terms of seniority, it's unlikely that you get the same seniority if you're a senior person. You might have to go backwards before you go forward. But I always say be patient. Be patient. Just make sure that you are strategic about your moves. So it's not like you go into a role and say, "Oh, I'll stay there and wait for promotion." No one is going to promote you. No one. Don't wait for promotion. That's what I say. Be your own promoter. So you come in, you know what you're capable of, you know what you can do, but I have had to go backwards. Don't wait. Once you do 2 years, be moving. 2 years is enough. Be moving. Be strategic. Be moving. Don't wait. Nobody is, because if my team, I'm always telling people they are my team and I want them to stay. But I'll tell you, come on, I can't give you a promotion, I can't give you a job, but be looking for work because you must progress. And because that's my thinking. That's my thinking. So you must progress. That every 2 years, for me, if once there's only so much you can learn. In every area, there's only so much you can learn. So once you've learned what you need to learn, the rest is about stretching and it gets to a point where you are managing the people doing the job. It's not you doing the job. Because in the NHS, you have a trust secretary who is not a lawyer managing lawyers. Somebody with legal, a solicitor or something. I'm not a solicitor. I will never be a solicitor. But you are managing you. I may not be able to do every aspect of your job, but I can manage you. And that's where you get to, to the point where you are managing people that you probably, given the job, you might not be able to do as well as they do, but you have a vision. You know what you want, what you see. So I'll say people should be qualified, because to get to the top, if you want to, as a Black person, it's unlikely. It's unlikely. Yeah. That they will give you a big job, 100,000 job plus, after having been, not, you won't get that straight from Africa. But if you come in and you are at the bottom and you are not qualified, you stay there. But then you see somebody at the top, a white woman, a white man, 6-figure, and probably has the same qualifications as you've got. But how to get through, it will be important, because it gets to a point where it's like, what qualifications have you got? Meanwhile, the white man, it's like, who are your friends? Or we want you there. You understand? But yeah.
Yes.
And for me, since the day my role where the woman I thought was going to be a mentor did not stand up for me, I go into a job, I'm thinking of the next job. So I'm here, I make sure that I cover all the bases, I work hard, I transform the role, and then I leave. Not thinking, always thinking, no one here, if anything falls over, will cover for me. I've disabused my mind of that. Yeah. No one will cover for you. No one will back you up. Nothing. Nobody. I have nobody here. So what I do is to work hard, cover my bases, work hard, transform the place. Nobody will have any excuse, and then you leave. Yeah. So people should be qualified. People should have that mindset. And make sure that before you go in a role, you are sure that you can do it. Yeah.
Okay. So this will be the final question. I just wanted to ask, in hindsight, looking at your journey from entry level to where you are, starting a new role as an assistant corporate governance director.
Associate.
Are there any associate? Yes. Are there any things you would have done differently, looking back in the in the years you progressed so far? Looking back in hindsight, Are there things, maybe some mistakes? Are there things, if you were given an opportunity to go back 15 years, are there things you would have done differently? Are there lessons you've learned that you wish maybe you can relieve and do things better? So this question is, so those of us who are coming behind will learn from those things and we begin to apply them and avoid some of those pitfalls that you would be relieving or recounting now.
I don't know whether this will help anybody. but as I said, I believe, I pray a lot. I believe that this is where God wants me to be. And I got into the NHS and I thought, wow, I was trained to be a PLC. I was trained to be a company secretary in a big company. That's where they were teaching me corporate finance and stuff. They were teaching me about PLC work, shareholdings. What's this NHS business? And I did not really respect it. So I got a call from somebody and he said, CQC, the regulatory body. CQC were looking for somebody. And I said, I'm not interested. I want a PLC role. And I was coming. So I got basically, CQC would have been in London, but then I had the job in Glasgow. I always think back and I said, wow, if I had considered the CQC role, which was NHS regulatory, I wouldn't have lost 2 years of my career. Maybe I wouldn't have lost 2 years of my career. If I had really respected where I was, I wouldn't have lost 2 years of my career. So that is something that I hope that one day I can recover that 2 years. Maybe I'll never recover that, because I look at that as the people that I started with or was ahead of, they went ahead. And at a point, my friend who I was teaching sometimes, when I was in the orthopedic hospital, she came from housing and became a company secretary in the NHS. So she could have been managing me at a point. I've caught up. But at that point, I thought, wow. So it was quite stressful. But then at the same, not that I was happy for her and all that, but then you're thinking you've lost 2 years and this is where you are. And at that time, I was really treading water. I was treading water. So my advice to people is, and this is what I tell people, young people, when they come to me and they say, I want to change, I'm like, there's one person I spoke to and now she's doing well. And I said, all that you've done, she wanted to go to Germany and do something completely different for all that she done. I said, all that you've done, I've been around charity and helping kids and special needs and that sort of thing. Why don't you continue? Because if you change, you are starting afresh. So what I tell, what if you come in and you get housing, what people do is they will try to move and then they'll move back. There's no path. When someone picks your CV, they should see that this is who you are. This is who you are. Celine, yeah. Celine is NHS through and through, or housing through and through, or PLC through and through, or even charity governance through and through. So they can trust you with it. Because that's how you get the really big jobs. If you're black. If you're white, you can do what you want. But if you're black, if I'm interviewing, if it's a white person interviewing, they should they'll always find fault, or they always find something, but you should position yourself in such a way that they don't find anything. Yeah. So you come in, you're searching, you get something, stick to it. Stick to it and build from there. Because whether it's in a PLC, you find your friend, if you're in NHS, you may be making 25 and your friend will making 40 in a PLC. You think, don't worry, you catch up. You will catch up and probably overtake or even have a better pension. You know. So yeah, that's my advice. And because it's been my experience and I lost 2 years for that.
Okay. So just a final question, and this is a personal question for me. When it comes to having to move for a particular job opportunity, because I noticed you moved quite a lot from Croydon to Stanmore and Glasgow. Are there things a professional should be willing to do? Because most times some people want to stay within their locality and ensure that they are not having to be moving up and down because of an opportunity.
I think
would you advise that people should be open to relocating or moving around cities in their location, provided it is strategic?
I have not relocated.
No. I mean, okay.
I have not relocated. I still live in London. I still live in the same area.
Okay. So how do you commute?
Because when I started, I realized that if I sat in London as a black man, a foreign-born black man, I was not going to go anywhere. You understand? So with my friend, for instance, the other friend who's also director, she used to live in Devon, which is, if you look at the map of England, is near France.
Okay.
But she will go anywhere for work because her husband was IT. So sometimes it's the marriage, the marriage in which you find herself. Her husband was IT and work from home. At a point, she would travel, go to Reading or go to a place and live there for the week until she got a job as a trust secretary, assistant company secretary, assistant director of governance. Now she's a director of governance. And so she got a job in Cambridge. I think that was probably too far. Oh, sure. I don't know why. But then the family moved from Devon, which is near France, to Cambridge, and they moved there. And now she gotten a job in Kent as the director of governance. So if you know the map, it's she's been all over. And myself, I realized that I could not compete. There was no way. So you go to Peterborough, I get a job. Those times I didn't have children, so I go and live there Monday to Friday, come back. Go to Gillingham, go there, come back. That time I didn't go to live there. But then Peterborough, Glasgow, I'll live there and come back. At Gillingham, yeah. These days I go by, because when I was in Croydon, that's when the COVID, I live in Croydon. That's when the COVID hit. So it opened up for me because basically I can't go into Milton Keynes. I can't go there 3 days, 5 days a week. So they said hybrid. Now it's all hybrid. So they said 2 days. They said I was going 2 days, and after 3 days is too much. They don't need me 3 days. So I do 2 days in the office and 3 days at home. So now the good thing is that you can do hybrid.
Okay.
That's the good thing. So going to Cambridge, they said at the interview, they said they want you an exec, we want you here 3 days. I said yes, knowing that wow, it's going to cost me. But Celine, I want to be able to get to a place. If I go and live, if I go on to live in Peterborough, for instance, it's difficult to commute to go anywhere. But where I live, it's easy to go anywhere. I can go south, I can go east, I can go west, I can go anywhere because it's all part of the strategy. Making sure that I can travel and progress myself. So if I'm thinking of going to Cambridge and probably relocate to Cambridge, but I'm thinking if I live in Cambridge, there are places that then I cannot go.
Yes.
Yeah. Meanwhile, where I live, I can go anywhere. So long as I can get there in 2 hours, I'm good. Because I don't like driving distance. Because I don't like. I'd rather sit on a train, and the train system here works. So you need to be strategic about where you live, and then so that you can commute. But with and it comes down to your marriage as well. If you're married, because my wife supports and that sort of thing is, and the other friend, her husband also supports. I've got another friend, and you see the people that can do it, they got certain, their marriages are very in a particular way where the other person supports. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I wanted to conclude by something I said. Okay. So if you want, even, I mean, if you're in Africa, if you're in Nigeria, Ghana, that's home turf. That's home turf. So how you do it will be different. But here, I'll say that, especially in the NHS, or even if not in the NHS, in a PLC, wherever, I'll say the first things you should have when you're starting out is your attention to detail. Your attention to detail. So if you're taking the minutes, it should be tip-top because they think we can't write. They think we are not good. So you should come in and show that you can do it. And that's where you gain the entry. And it should be organized as well. It should be organized. So the portfolio that you've been given, the portfolio has been given, the minutes and the committees and any work that you should always have it organized. Everything they ask you for anything, any action for the committee, you have done it. Anything, you've done it. So you're on top of it. So, and the other thing is that you need to be excellent at minute taking. So your reports and everything should be excellent. So that's the first, how to get in. But as you progress, you should show that you are a good communicator as well. So it's not like you're being frustrated and you shout at somebody or you fall out with the director. You can't fall out with anybody. You should be a diplomat and be a good, effective communicator. And when I was starting out, you used to meet people, even recently, you used to meet people and they'll say, oh, we've emailed so and so your company secretary and they've not come back. And you see that your company secretary has 1,000 emails unread or 2,000 emails unread, that sort of thing. That is not good communication. So somebody sends an email, quickly you respond. Somebody sends an email, and which is one of the reasons why, for instance, if you're doing minutes and you are still checking and responding to your emails, there's no way you can do your minutes. You're always being distracted. So the best thing is to drop it so that you can have all your meetings, and because you're managing areas and it involves a lot of meetings, you can have your meetings and push things and push the vision and all that. And you can also be on top of your email. Because people, if me, where I work now, my current role, I'm the only black male in the building and the most senior black person. Black male, black person. Until recently that I realized people have noticed me because I'm working and I'm going, and then people make comments, oh, we've seen your name and we've noticed you, and I thought, wow. Then people make comments that, oh, you are very quick with your email. And that builds your reputation, that gives you that integrity. So apart from the verbal communication, is also making sure that you are on top of emails and you are responding to people and communicating clearly. And the other thing is that your integrity. So they should know that basically what Kwame says, what Celine says is the truth. And she means it. She's not changing her mind. And they know that they can trust you. They know that they can trust you. Not that they go and hear you gossiping. So the problem that I have is I always say that I mean you don't have a team. You have a team, but then you don't have friends. So you are friends with everybody, but you don't really have a friend that you talk to because they know that you know stuff. So you don't want anybody asking you about stuff. You understand? Because you're always in the room and all that. So that is, as you develop that, those are the sort of skills that you need to have. And the last one is that you need to be able to stretch to add value as a co-sec in this country. You need to be able to stretch. Even in a PLC, you need to be able to understand reputation, marketing, the shareholdings, and all that. You need to be able to understand the import, the politics, the everything. I'm sure you want to go, but then there's a recent case, NatWest, where they were closing the banks of politicians they didn't like. I don't know whether you follow that. And the chief exec, I think, went to a dinner and sat beside, whether it was deliberate or not, no one can tell, sat beside a BBC correspondent. And so it was in the news that, they were closing the bank accounts of people they didn't like. I think it was somewhere in the gossip area. And then she told the chief exec of NatWest, told the BBC person that they've closed the bank account of Nigel Farage because he didn't have money, blah, blah, blah. That was confidential information. So the BBC correspondent said, "Who? You mean that?" And went and broadcasted. So it was like, how did that BBC? So people monitored it, remember that, he was sitting by this chief exec, blah, blah, blah. And it went to a board meeting late night, like now. It was even later than this, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. And they said they supported the chief exec. If I was COSEC, I would have said, the COSEC, you should be able to understand. If you're a COSEC in that situation, you should be able to understand reputation. You should be able to understand the politics. You should be able to have the antenna that says, this is dangerous. No, the chief exec must go. If you are giving the advice, if they ask you for advice. None of that happened. Of course, number 10, Downing Street said, no way are we supporting this. The Prime Minister himself. So then they went back and said, we don't support. Too late. The chairman, a big man, Howard Davis, big mistake. Very experienced guy. Soon after I said, I'm leaving. And I'm sure, I'm keeping track of it. I'm sure the COSEC one day, soon after, will also have to leave. And other non-exec will have to leave. Because that was damaging. That was damaging. And I've seen that in Tesco, other areas where they make a governance failure. And if the COSEC had been on top of it, will basically have stopped it, or can say, well, I told them and they ignored me, have records of it. You always see the chief exec will leave, the chair will leave, someone will leave, and the COSEC will also leave very quietly. So I'll say that to progress, wherever you find yourself, don't just focus on the governance, the compliance. Try to stretch to other areas, into HR, to risk, especially in the NHS, to risk management, to engagement, which is what I've done in Milton Keynes. I have, of course, when I inherited it, it's a narrow focus on the board. Then they gave me risk. Then they gave me engagement with the community engagement. I'd never done that before, but I had an idea of what I wanted. It's always having an idea and then doing it. So going to Papworth, they are talking about HR bits, EDI, quality, diversity, and they want me. Yeah, I will be able to give advice and help and manage that as well. So it's about being able to stretch and do other things. Then use that as a base to go to the next room. Yeah, to go to the next room. Yeah, so that's that. This has been very good. Thank you. Very good opportunity.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. This is like an MBA in the role of a company secretary in the UK. Experiences from Kwame Mensa-Bonsu.
Thank you.
Maybe we can turn this into Harvard Business Review. It's very interesting too.
You are picking me up. You are picking me up.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time. Thank you. It's been a very interesting conversation. And on behalf of Iksan River State Chapter, I just want to appreciate you. And we're glad that we're able to have this conversation. So going forward, we're going to have the video on our YouTube channel and now